It is mailbag time on a Friday afternoon. Nope, Friday morning still. It's not 11:30 yet, so it's still Friday morning. We don't have a lot of news. We do have one news item to get to, but we've got your emails at fantasyfootball@cbsi.com, your Apple Podcast questions, your YouTube comments, and of course, the Fantasy Cops, some Puka Nakua controversy in many leagues, I am sure. So we'll talk about that as we welcome you to Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Adam Azer here with Jamie Eisenberg and Little Dan.
I can't believe you got note of that, Adam. I don't think Jamie knows about it yet, though.
No.
Should I tell it now? Or
Little
wait?
Dan is in the house. I think let's go for it. Let's hear the story.
All right. So I told a story on Beyond the Box Score this week, Jamie. We had on Nate Tice, who was a former quarterback for Wisconsin. He was a backup quarterback there. So when I was at Wisconsin, there was a bar that we frequented called Mondays. And this bar Mondays was known for the best drinks in all of Wisconsin. It would just be all alcohol and a splash of Sprite. So my roommate, Alex Wehrman, was 6'4", 235, 240, and he bounced at Mondays. He also was known to have a little something extra on game days and got banged up a lot. So one game day, we got back after the game. It's like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. He is toasted, and he says, I'm not going to be able to make it to the bar tonight. I don't know what to do. I was like, And at the time, I was a college kid with literally no money to my name, and I needed money. I wanted money. I wanted to be able to spend and enjoy my college experience. So I said to him, why don't we try this? And to be clear, at the bar, every bartender, anyone who worked there knew me and us because our group went there all the time. And I said, why don't I take your shirt and try to be the bouncer for tonight and see what happens? I show up there with a Monday shirt. The guy is I think it was Gary. I think it was his name, who was the manager. He was so confused by what I was asking him and like what I was considering, but they had nobody else. And he said, you know what? Go for it. And on that night, I became the world's smallest bouncer in the history of bouncing at 5'8", 165. I was the bouncer, and I leveraged that. They liked me because I worked hard. I leveraged that into 2 years of working there as a bouncer somehow.
2 years,
last 2 years of college.
Wow. So now we have to decide between Little Dan and Egg Juice.
I forgot where the Little Dan comes in. Working with me was a guy named Dan who was on the Wisconsin football team and then stopped like being on the team like in his junior year. He was named Dan from like a rural state in Wisconsin. Great dude. He was like 6'4", 300. Like he was a lineman. And so on the schedule, it would always go Big Dan and Little Dan. I hated that.
You hated that? It's so
hated it.
That is great.
Little bit medium Dan.
No, you're Little Dan. Come on.
Could have been medium Dan.
5'8". Travis Etienne is a game time decision. Big Jamie, break down the Jaguars running backs against Green Bay.
Yeah, don't often run into where there's multiple Jamies in the same situation. I think for the Jaguars, if Etienne plays, he would be my favorite running back for fantasy because I feel like this game is going to be more of a passing game as opposed to a running game, especially if they get behind. And I don't think they want to use Tank Bigsby in the passing game yet. So they would be flex options at best. I would like to avoid it if I could.
Okay. All right, let's go right to the emails at Fantasy Football.
Like Schmedium Schneier.
Schmedium.
I would like medium or Schmedium.
He's Egg Juice, baby. That's who he is. He's Egg Juice. Fantasy Football at cbsi.com. So actually, before we do this, we'll promote it later. Okay. I want you to promote Beyond the Box Score that you did with Nate Tice, but also how to find it and how to listen to it and all those things. So we'll get to that. But here are some emails. This is from Austin. Tank Dell or Chase Brown? Half PPR.
I'm going to go squeaky wheel, Tank Dell. Just based on what CJ Stroud said in the matchup. I like it.
Agreed.
Okay. So Tank Dell, you said? All right. Yes. 2 questions from Drew. Evan Ingram, Tucker Kraft, or Kate Otten?
Ingram for me.
Evan Ingram, Tucker Kraft.
If it's PPR, Ingram. If it's not PPR, I might mix in Kraft.
I'll agree with that.
PPR, Bigsby or Darnell Mooney?
Mooney.
If ETN doesn't play, I'm going to have to go Bigsby.
Really? Over Mooney?
Yeah, just a volume-based thing, even in PPR.
Okay. Oh, look at this comment. This is everything. This is one of the best comments I've ever seen from John. Adam, you have an elite taste in TV shows and movies. You should watch Kingdom MMA show. Not sure if you're a fan, but incredible show nonetheless and great acting.
I got to be honest, Adam, I think John is just a smart guy and realized that if he prefaced what he wanted to say with just saying, Adam, you are elite, you have great taste in TV and movies, he would get his comment read. Kudos to you, John. Well done. But Adam, don't victory lap this one. I don't think he actually.
Oh, here's why it's a victory lap. I have seen Kingdom. I have recommended it to so many people. Kingdom is one of the best shows you've never seen.
What's it on?
I don't know. I don't know where to find it anymore. It was briefly on Netflix. People were so. It was one of those shows where the fans wanted to bring it back, and the actors were like, "Yeah, we bring it." It never came back. One of the Jonas brothers is in. I think Nick Jonas, like the popular one. But the fighting is amazing, and when they have their fights, you're like a fan watching a game or watching a fight. You're so invested. But the show is great. Kingdom is phenomenal. Please watch. Like you'll be hooked right from the jump. Okay. Where are we here? Sorry. Let's get back to our emails. I'm sorry. I was on YouTube. Okay, let's go back to emails. This is from.
By the way, Dan. So there was somebody on Wednesday's show that said Adam had great hair, and he's like, I just saw something. Somebody said I had great hair. Of course, I'm going to read it.
I mean, that's how you get on flattery. All right. I don't know who all of these actors are, so you might have to help me here. All right. You know what? Since we just had a goofy email, I'm going to save this one for a little bit, and then we'll come back and read this goofy email later about who would play us in a movie. Corey from Lansing, Michigan is in a PPR league. Can only start 3 of these running backs. Okay. We have to sit one. Jahmyr Gibbs, Bijan Robinson, Javonte Williams, J.K. Dobbins.
Has to sit one. My gosh, that's tough.
I'm sitting Javonte. I wouldn't sit any of those guys over Javonte personally. I gotta be honest. We watched Javonte for Beyond the Box Score, and I'll let you speak and give your take in a second, Jamie. I was not as impressed as others. I felt like there was a lot of good holes, and it was just mostly good run scheme.
You don't have to be impressed with what he did to like him against Carolina, though.
That's fair.
So I would agree that that's the right one to sit. But yes, it's tough. It's tough when you have a lot of good players. You might make the wrong call, but you have to go with that's what it is.
Comment in the chat: Jason Alexander as Little Dan. All right,
young Jason Alexander,
yeah, handsome young Jason.
You could just hear it. You could just see it and hear it. I said it was medium.
All right, this is from Aaron, and he says, "Pick 2." Oh, this is pick 2 out of. Hold on. Pittman or Bateman or Douglas or JSN. So Pittman, Bateman, Demario Douglas, JSN.
And this is PPR or what?
PPR.
Left the show. He can't take the Pittman Bateman anymore.
Pittman or Bateman?
Pittman or Bateman, Douglas, JSN. We need 2 of them. I'm going.
Did you say PPR? I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm going Douglas and JSN. But if Flowers is out, I'd probably go Bateman and JSN.
I would agree. JSN's the easy one.
Yeah.
Assuming Metcalf's out.
Bateman and JSN for me.
All right. This is from CT in a town.
Adam, you're hurting the show based on what I got the wrong one back. Bad Guy Rice says, I hit the dislike button every time the man plays the music. You're killing our show, Adam.
No, you can't hit it more than once, so that's obviously a lie. CT in a town on the central coast of
California. Sound more than once, which is annoying.
The central coast of California.
Oh, Pacific Northwest. Yeah.
Pacific Northwest, exactly. All right, so he says, Dear Kurt. Let's see if Dan knows this greeting. Dear Kurt, Marshall, Isaac, and Tori.
Oh, of course, dude. Those are all the St. Louis Rams, or actually Los Angeles Rams.
No,
St. Louis Rams.
Yeah. Good job.
That was a bad take.
I love the show, and I try to watch every episode. I don't know why, but for some reason, I began thinking about each contributor to the podcast and which actor, based on appearance and personality, would play them if FFT were to be turned into a big budget feature film. Here's the list I came up with. Adam Azer, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. He's the most ripped guy in Hollywood. Like, no way.
Just like you.
Jesse Eisenberg. He actually said Jesse, but he meant Jamie Eisenberg, played by Bradley Cooper. And we've gotten that before. Heath Cummings played by Billy Bob Thornton.
I kind of love that. I kind of love that.
Dave Richard played by Nick Offerman.
I kind of like that too.
What's his name in Parks and Rec?
Oh.
Ron Swanson.
Ron Swanson from Parks and Rec.
Okay. Yep.
Dan Schneider played by Jerry Ferrara.
Okay, I will take that. I was thinking this was going the Jason Alexander route. I will take that. Oh my God, I just got one of the worst comments ever.
No, okay, don't say that. Don't say
Okay,
that.
yeah, we can't do that.
Jerry Ferrara. What was this character's name in Entourage?
Turtle.
He was Turtle. Okay.
You know, I
gave him fantasy advice for like a year and a half.
I shouldn't say this, but oh yeah, I will. I was. You guys probably know this just from hearing me on this podcast enough. I was always compared to Drama, not the guy you want to be compared to in that show. I would have rather a Turtle than a Drama.
Jacob Gibbs played by Chris Evans. He's Captain America, right?
Chris Evans for Jacob Gibbs. What the heck?
I don't see that
Jacob
one.
Gibbs is like 122 pounds.
Yeah, I don't see that one. Sorry. Let's read a comment from the chat real quick. Adam has great taste in meatballs.
Shocking.
If Jonathan Brooks is no longer IR eligible, do I drop Geno Smith, Tillman, Dowdle, Worthy, or Andrews?
If you don't need a quarterback, you could drop Smith. If you are just speculating at this point or on Tillman or even Worthy, I mean, we don't know what's going to happen with him. He just hasn't materialized yet. So most likely it would be Tillman unless you don't need a quarterback. Then it'd be Smith.
What's the meatballs? Did I miss it?
It's just a random compliment to give me to get him to read the question.
What was was it Zach Berman who did the Avengers for us? Or Heath did the Avengers? And then Zach did?
I don't know.
On Twitter you're talking about?
Yeah.
Of putting us all superimposed on Avengers. That was very funny.
And you were Gamora?
Yes, I was Gamora.
But
you know what? They missed the best spot. Like somebody else in the comments was like, no, Dan is Rocket. That is such a good one for me. I am Rocket. And I want to be Rocket.
What was Adam?
Adam was
Ant-Man, I think.
Oh,
Ant-Man, yeah.
This is a world that I don't really live in. All right, Taylor wants to know, who should he flex? Marvin Harrison Jr., Nick Chubb, or Rashad Bateman, if no Flowers?
Mixon, Chubb,
Harrison.
Bateman?
No, Marvin Harrison, Chubb, or Bateman.
Oh, I'd go Harrison.
Same.
Yeah, come on, Harrison. Like, this is kind of a Joe Boo week, I think, for
we might be getting some squeaky wheel from him too. We don't know.
Not based on Hard Knocks.
No, I know.
Right? All right, listen, if you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, let's do it. Use that bonus code FANTASY, and you're going to get up to a $1,500 first bet offer on your first wager with BetMGM. Here's how it works. Download the BetMGM app. Sign up using the bonus code FANTASY. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets if your bet loses. Just make sure you use the bonus code FANTASY when you sign up. More emails, fantasy cops, and more after this on Fantasy Football Today. All right, we are back. This is
all right, one news update.
Okay.
No Jane Daniels at practice.
Oof.
Yeah. All right.
Adam, check the
Doesn't mean he's
practice.
out, but just not practicing. At least based on what the beat writers have sent out.
Yeah, we have
Mariota.
we have time for this story, Dan. Remind me when we do fantasy cops.
Okay.
All right. Dan wants to tell a story, so we will tell.
It's going to be a MIDA 8. I don't even know if I can.
Just
I say
say the
A-hole. The A-hole.
Yeah, I can say it. I don't think it's bad. It's going to be an MIDA A-hole story, and I want you guys to decide if I'm the A-hole.
I'm sure everybody's gonna say yes.
I'm getting really conflicted about what to say on the show in terms of, a-hole and things like that, because got a very negative comment, 1-star review.
No.
Well, guy said I suck, but also that I use bad language.
What?
And
You?
he listens with his kid. And I don't
Recently?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't curse or anything, but sometimes I'd say, I don't know, idiot, jerk, I don't know, something like that. I don't know what he was referring to. And then my friend said that they were listening or they were watching the show on Monday morning with their kids, and they have a 6-year-old. And what did I say? And the kid was like, he was just appalled by something I said, but it wasn't that bad. I wish I remembered what it was, but
I think you toe the line very well, to be completely honest. I've heard a lot of podcasts in my life, so I wouldn't worry about it too much.
I know, but people do drive to work with their kids in the car.
I know. I'm not saying don't. I'm not saying curse. Obviously, we're trying to avoid it at all times. I would hope that a-hole is an okay thing to say.
No, I think no. No.
Okay.
I'm gonna say no on that. Yeah.
Okay.
All right, dear.
Just choose the "Am I a jerk?" is probably the best way.
There you go.
Bucky Irving back at practice.
Don't love that. Dear
Sound like
Jeremy, Jimmy, Benjamin, and Taysom.
Hills.
Saints tight ends.
All Hills.
Shockey.
They're all Hills.
That's a much better guess than Hills.
What do you mean? Jeremy Hill, Taysom Hill. What was that?
Jimmy Hill, Benjamin Hill. Those are the guys you went to Wisconsin with. These are
What are the
Saints
names again?
Jeremy, Jimmy, Benjamin, and Taysom. Yeah, that's a good call. Benjamin
Yeah,
Watson.
Ben Watson, Jimmy Graham, Jeremy Shockey, and Taysom Hill.
First things first, it's not egg juice, it's egg gravy. As a guy who's also
Lean on
from up
that.
north, the first time I heard the term egg gravy was when I moved to New Orleans 25 years ago. It's also where I learned there's only one condiment for eggs, and it's Crystal hot sauce. It's all
Love
about
that.
gravy in New Orleans.
Love both of those takes. Well done.
I need help with the second flex in a PPR league. Olave, Bateman, Waddle.
Waddle.
Olave.
I'm going Waddle.
Actually, I don't know why I said that. I don't want to trust a Rattler pass game. I'm off of that. Waddle.
Yeah.
This is playing, right? It's a guarantee.
He's been questionable, but yeah, we assume he's playing. And this is
Imagine saying you cursed him or bad language. That's crazy.
I know it's so. I'm taken back by this as well. I think
I used to
Adam
get so
is
mad
off.
when we would curse for real because you had to edit it out.
Right.
one of our commenters just said Adam is a perfectly vanilla host.
Yes.
I don't think I agree with that either.
No, that's a
prefer
compliment.
vanilla
It's like when you say he's a system quarterback. Like that's not a negative.
That's Adam's system host.
I don't really want to be a system quarterback.
I think he's got more to his game.
All right, here we go. From Bear, Dear Billy, Hubie, Happy, and Deeds. This is
Gilmore's.
Come on, Dan.
Gilmore's?
I'm kidding. Adam Sandler characters. Give me a break.
Okay. I have a winning record, but my quarterbacks are Dak and Geno. So I'm streaming. It's 12-team league. The waiver wires have these options. Would you pick up any of them and drop, I guess, Dak or Geno? Kyler Murray, Kirk Cousins, Russell Wilson, Drake May.
I don't think you're streaming when you have those two guys. Like streaming is more you're going from Drake May to Bo Nix, like those type of guys. You can drop Geno if you're concerned about Metcalf not playing. Play Dak this week and pick up Kyler Murray. I mean, of those guys, he has the highest ceiling still.
Okay, from Michael, J.K. Dobbins or Tony Pollard at RB2?
Dobbins by a lot for me.
Dobbins.
And then Pickens, Waddle, or that other running back for flex? Pickens. Okay. Should I trade from Justin? Should I trade Ken Walker for Christian McCaffrey? I have Breece Hall and Bijan Robinson. Woo!
Breece Hall, Bijan Robinson, and McCaffrey.
It's interesting. You
better
would
rest
think this
the
would be
season
an
off.
easy yes, but I don't know if it even is.
I know.
Right?
That's why I struggle.
McCaffrey has a definite chance to re-injure himself. We know that. I mean, he's dealing with tendonitis. And Walker is arguably one of the 5 most valuable pieces at running back right now, right?
I think I would play it safe and stick with Walker.
So here's the only thing you got to keep in mind. Seattle has not had their bye yet, right?
No.
And you don't get McCaffrey for 2 more games.
Right.
So that would probably be record dependent. Like if you're 1 loss, undefeated, maybe 2 losses, you can afford to, set yourself up for the stretch run, playoffs.
But say you are, Jamie, would you do it even if you were?
Look, anybody that's going to say health notwithstanding, they're all healthy. You're taking McCaffrey, So you got to start to then build in the layers of it. So I mean, we know Walker's not exactly the picture of health consistently. Right. He's healthy now. He's playing great. I would probably do it just knowing that I have Hall and Robinson. You know what he might do though. To be honest with you, maybe you trade Bijan.
Ooh, over Walker. I'm
I
intrigued
agree.
by
I think
that.
I'd rather have Walker.
I don't know if I'd definitely rather Bijan over Walker at this point. I think that's an interesting take.
Yeah, I think I'd rather have Walker.
Yeah,
I think I do it too.
Would you rather?
I don't know if that person's accepting Bijan though.
How would you rank Bijan, Walker, McCaffrey, and Breece Hall?
Rest of season.
Mm-hmm.
I think Bijan's last.
I think I would put Bijan last. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know how I'd rank the other ones though. That's when it gets interesting.
Again, you got to assume if you assume everybody's healthy, you still take McCaffrey first.
Yeah.
Okay. Up next, we have Dalton from a town south of Angle Inlet, Minnesota. All right. Pick one. Odunze, Tolbert, Bateman, Tillman.
Bateman is easy with no Flowers. It's tough between Bateman and Tolbert with Flowers. I might go Tolbert.
That's what I was thinking.
If Flowers plays, I'm going to go Tolbert as well.
All right.
If you look at some of the stats before the Cowboys bye week, it's wild how much closer Tolbert and Lamb are than you'd think from targets per route run, everything you need to be looking for. It's almost as if defenses are taking away Lamb, which we know they are, and Dak is just the type of quarterback that can process information fast. It's what made him, got him both his contracts. So he's going to go to Tolbert. Like, why would he not go to the one-on-one?
Wow. These are much less kind
casting choices for the casting of that 15 movie from Gamer Eric. Adam, Jay, what is that, Barakal?
I don't know how to pronounce it, but I get that a lot. I get that.
Which one is that?
He's in Knocked Up. He's like really skinny dude. You ever see She's Out of My League?
Yeah,
Is he the guy from Silicon Valley?
I've never seen Silicon
Valley. Oh, I know which one you're talking about. Yes, that really skinny one. You do kind of look like that.
Yeah,
really.
No, I get it. If
I'm going to take Jason Alexander, you're taking that one. Dave's got Kevin James. Okay. Jamie got Chris Pratt. Jamie's just getting great.
Yeah, I know, right? Jamie gets Brad.
James on real time.
Brad Pitt is Jamie, I think. Yeah.
I'm scared to get to mine. He's got Hugh Lowry. That's a good one.
I
got Paul Rudd. This is great. I'm good. I'm good to go. Jacob got Aaron Ball. That's actually really good too.
That's pretty good.
It's Hugh Laurie, and that is a pretty good call for.
Oh, it's Hugh Laurie. Okay.
All right. Let's. Okay.
By the way, Deontay Johnson working on the side. This according to David Newton of ESPN. With a trainer, he said yesterday expects to play Sunday, but this leaves some doubt, according to him. And Adam Thielen not dressed, so not going to return.
I don't really like the Panthers offense this week, guys. I just saying. All right, Austin wants more of a deep dive on Marvin Harrison Jr. We talked about him on Wednesday's show. Austin wants to know more about how we're feeling about Marvin Harrison Jr. You want to start, Dan?
Sure. I think the biggest issue right now with Marvin Harrison Jr. is just his role within this offense and then what this offense is trying to accomplish. So, first of all, they're not giving him a lot of easy targets. They're not giving him a lot of layup throws, as we call them. That's something that we've seen with Malik Neighbors. That's something that we've seen even with Brian Thomas at times, specifically in the red zone. So you take that away. Now, as far as the deep path goes and maybe making plays on the deep ball, to be quite frank, like Kyler Murray, love his arm talent. Off platform, love his ability to create plays. He's not a great structure quarterback right now. When you watch the Cardinals offense, you very rarely see a rhythmic timing passing game ever from Murray, and you don't see usage of the middle of the field. These are areas where Harrison can win deep ins, deep outs, using his skill set. So I don't like the fit with quarterback to wide receiver skill set, and the coach clearly has no interest in just scheming up targets for him. They have different ways to move the offense. So I don't ultimately he's going to have big games for sure. The problem is his usage in the offense and the fit with this quarterback. So I don't know.
From a statistical standpoint, am blown away. I mentioned this on yesterday's show or Thursday's show, blown away by 46.5% catch rate on a 13.5 yard ADOT, which is a good ADOT. I mean, that's the kind of ADOT he should have. Route depth is very high. ADOT is pretty good, but not getting a ton of targets. That's part of it. But he should be catching more of them. It's astonishing that he's not catching 60% of his target, because if it were 60%, that'd be kind of low, but 46.5%, that makes me think that regression's probably coming. But at the same time, I don't know. Like I've watched it. He's not like Malik Neighbors where he's going to blow you away with his speed, or is that, he's a different kind of receiver. So he's not, maybe some people are going to be like, oh, he doesn't look good, but that's just not who he is. Like
he's the kind of receiver that needs like a Matt Stafford type arm talent, somebody who has velocity on his throws and somebody who's willing to throw tight window throws and not just tight window contested catch situations, which was something he had at times at Ohio State. He doesn't have that right now.
Yeah. So and the schedule stinks. So I'm considering a number 2 wide receiver this week, but if he doesn't get it done this week, I don't think I'm going to be starting him against the Jets or Bears, I think, are his next 2 matchups. So.
Are we spoiled a little bit, though, by Neighbors and Thomas?
Sure.
Not really, because he's just been pretty basically, Marvin Harrison Jr. has had more or less one great quarter this year. It was like the first quarter of week 2. He had one other good game, but other than that, I mean, he's been pretty bad.
He's definitely not lived up to his pre-draft expectations, fantasy-wise. still remains to be seen NFL wise.
And there are some weird moments on tape that you mentioned, Adam. Like he had a game in the last game, like where he let the ball come into his body and didn't make a hands catch. It was really awkward, and it talks to the catch rate you're talking about. That's just odd because you didn't see that really on his tape at Ohio State.
I want to let Jamie get in there just because I want to wrap this up, get the fantasy cops and all that. What do you?
No, I just think we had some huge moments from league neighbors. We've had some huge moments from Brian Thomas, and those guys have become must-start fantasy options as rookies, which we don't always see in the first 5 or 6 weeks of the season. I mean, it was basically from the jump with Harrison. We threw him into our lineups. We got the week 1 disappointment. We had the week 2, bounce back game. I'm hopeful. What we typically see from these rookies is that the second half of the season is when the strong finishing kick is, and that's still in front of them. Yes, the schedule's tough. Yes, the bye week is late, so you're not going to maybe see the resetting of, maybe what they need to do to get them going. But I also think there's still so much talent there, and it's been inconsistent from Kyler. It's been inconsistent from him. You wonder if they don't make the playoffs and they don't finish strong offensively, if there's no offensive coordinator being hired there.
Yeah, could be. Okay, and hopefully it's from the 49ers coaching staff. Just going to read a few more emails here. Just Jamie here. Pick one, Jamie.
The McVay staff.
Pickens, Dell, Mooney, or Brian Thomas Jr.?
Pickens.
And Tank Dell, Marvin Harrison Jr., Tony Pollard, or Kate Otten, PPR?
Just need one?
Mm-hmm.
I might go Otten.
Okay. All right. We're going to get to the fantasy cops. Yeah, we'll do it right now. And then we'll ask if Dan is a jerk or not. We all know the answer, but it's time for the fantasy cops. Send us your emails, fantasyfootball@cbsi.com. Put fantasy cops in the subject line. Listen to this crazy league, okay? Dan, the Vikings fan in Packers country, says, morning, detectives. I'm in a 12-team PPR ghost league. Have you guys ever heard of a ghost league before?
No.
Okay, because I think this is probably the only one. On draft day, there's one team selected randomly as the ghost team, and they have to wait to draft anyone until all the other teams have picked 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end, 2 DSTs, and a kicker. After the other 11 managers pick those players, the ghost team gets to choose those spots with what is remaining, and then the draft continues as a normal snake.
What?
Isn't that crazy? So every team gets 2 quarterbacks, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, 2 DSTs, a tight end, and a kicker, and then the ghost team gets to make all of those selections, and then they
12
snake.
teams?
It's 12 teams. Now listen.
I'm not sure I'm understanding this. They sit out the draft, correct?
Until every team has 2 of each position.
And then they pick their whole team?
Then they pick those positions, and then they snake after that for bench players, basically.
What?
Okay.
So what?
Huge disadvantage, but okay.
Who would ever agree to a league?
Listen. We're not done yet. This year, I was selected as the ghost, and being the ghost team manager, every time you beat someone in a week, you get to trade anyone from your team to their team. So you get to trade your worst player for their best player.
Okay.
I started out the year with Baker Mayfield, James Conner, DK Metcalf, and Chris Godwin. So I had a solid team to begin with, but now I'm 2-3. I've stolen Josh Allen, Bijan, CeeDee Lamb, Christian McCaffrey. In recent weeks, I have begun to pick up random players with regional significance to them, located in Packer country. I have picked up Mercedes Lewis, Quintez Cephas, and A.J. Dillon as a joke to trade them since they have been Packers or Badgers. I traded Cephas for CeeDee Lamb. Last week, I beat the McCaffrey manager, and I traded him A.J. Dillon. So the spirit is he trades his worst player, but the league is pissed off because he's picking horrible players as his worst player. So the commissioner reached out to me saying I need to stop trading players who aren't on active rosters and are actually playing. There's no rule in place for what trades need to consist of. Small caveat being that there are no trades in the league besides the ghost team when they win. I mentioned that it was all in good fun, but there are multiple people in the league who are complaining of my actions and are threatening to leave the league because of my Bush League moves.
Come on.
What do you guys think?
I think that if you're playing in a league like this, you should be open to fun, stupid nonsense like this. And so there's no rule against it. You can't put a rule in place in midseason. Let him rip. Let him have his fun. It's a nonsense league anyway.
And obviously, if he's doing that, he's doing 2 things. One, he's either dropping somebody on his team that could be relevant, or 2, leaving somebody on the waiver wire that's relevant to you.
Yeah.
So if he's picking up A.J. Dillon, and there's Cedric Tillman, for example, random guy that's coming off a big game. you get to go pick him up, and he's just going to do it as a joke. And then, oh, by the way, if he makes the trade with you, you're just cutting him and picking up somebody else. It's so stupid to complain about this.
I agree. And by the way, I think you guys went from, especially Dan, went from hating the ghost team to loving the ghost team.
I love it. I do.
I think we got to do a league like this next year.
Yeah, it is great. All right, next up, we have William from Manchester. He says, "Dear Ed, and Eddie." Dan, were you an Ed, and Eddie guy?
No.
Yeah, me either. What are your thoughts on this? A team has a full roster but an open IR slot, executes a trade where they give one but they accept 2 players, and one of them is on IR. Should that team have to drop a player just to execute the trade, or should they be allowed to execute and immediately move a guy into IR right after the trade goes through? You want me to give you an example?
They have a legal roster when they make the trade?
They have a legal roster, but then they have an open IR spot. But by
you're acquiring Christian McCaffrey and Jordan Mason for Kenneth Walker.
Yes. And that gives you a temporarily illegal lineup until you just make the little move of moving McCaffrey.
Totally.
Yeah, allow it, right? No big deal.
Of course, yeah.
Dan, agree?
I think so. Yeah.
You think so? You know?
No, I know so. I know.
All right, last one is from Nathan.
Tua has been cleared to go.
Let's go. All right. I had Puka in an IR spot, assuming he wasn't playing this week and having missed the surprise activation. I play in a league where roster moves lock if you have an ineligible player in an IR spot. And now that Puka has played, I can't move him to my bench until after the end of this week. I have 2 openings on my bench currently. I was hoping to add at least 1 quarterback to my roster. I know I should have thought and planned ahead and done the transaction after waivers cleared on Wednesday, but alas. Do you think it's fair for me to ask the commissioner for a roster unfreeze so I can move Puka out of my IR and allow me to pick up a backup quarterback? Right now, I have no backup quarterback, and he does have Jaden Daniels.
I'm very confused by this. So he has a guy in IR, so he should have an extra bench spot, no?
No, so he has Puka in IR, and this league, if you have a player in IR who's not supposed to be there, your roster is frozen.
Oh,
wow. Because Puka already played, his roster's frozen. He can't make any ad drops. Jaden Daniels is his only quarterback, and he didn't know that Puka was playing.
I've never played in a league like that where it will like freeze your whole roster because of that. Yeah, I know. Rolf is saying, "How are you confused? It's laid out so easily." Guess what, Rolfs? Guess what, ROFLZ? First of all, Rolfs, I was nicer to you earlier. We had a nice little interaction. But guess what? I've never played in a league like this. I've never heard of your roster hole getting locked because of this. You know what? Your whole roster. So I'm just gonna let you go.
Your roster hole.
Sometimes when I get when I see red and I'm just going red on someone with a rant, I mix up 2 words within a rant. It happens all the time.
Calm down, little Dan. Calm down.
Let's go, Egg Juice. If I were the commissioner, I would absolutely unfreeze the roster. Of course, you know that I would do that. But
what are you allowing him to do, though? You're allowing him to drop somebody and pick up a backup quarterback?
You're allowing him to put Puka in a roster spot instead of on IR, and then just go ahead and make transactions instead of freezing his roster because he didn't know that Puka was playing.
But then he'd have to drop 2 people, right?
No, he wouldn't have to drop anyone. I think he said he has 2 open roster spots. And the problem is he didn't know Puka was playing. I'm not going to penalize people.
That I totally agree with. And I agree with your concept. But the question I have is, does he now have to drop 2 players to pick up a quarterback and add Puka?
No, I don't think so. I think he said he has 2. I have 2 openings on my bench currently. So it's basically just the guy missed Puka being active. I'm going to be forgiving about that.
Yeah, if it's just to freeze the roster, yes, I think that should be allowed. But if it is, I can't make any moves because I needed to plan for Jaden Daniels being out like that, I wouldn't allow, because that you should be paying attention.
Yeah, I agree.
By the way, Dan has taken over.
The roster stuff is done.
Dan has taken over the Fantasy Football Today account, and he keeps chatting with people as Fantasy Football Today, and people are probably going to think it's me. So just letting you know, it is Dan. All right, we have your Apple Podcast questions and your YouTube questions after this break. We'll be right back, people. Welcome back to Fantasy Football Today. Let's get a World Series prediction from Dan and Jamie.
Dodgers in 6.
Oh, that's exactly what I said earlier. Yeah. All right, Dodgers in 6. Apple Podcast, little bit tricky today. I have to read them directly from Apple Podcasts, so I can do that. Here we go. Thank you for these, by the way. The best time to get them in on Monday. Get them in on Monday. They take a while to populate. Don't ask Thursday questions. And please, you got to leave us a 5-star review and tell people why you like our show. Here is a trade question. It's an 18-team league. Okay. And this guy is currently desperate at wide receiver. He's starting Christian Kirk, Tutu Atwell, who almost had a touchdown, and Troy Franklin. He has been offered. What's his record? I think he gives me his record. Oh, he's in first place. No, he's not. He's 12-2. Right? They do one of those leagues where you get two things. So he's 12-2. How is that possible? How are you 12-2? We've played 7 weeks. Okay, that equals 14. That equals 14. Yeah. That makes sense. Here's the trade offer. He gives up Brian Robinson Jr. and Christian Kirk. He gets Rashad White and Mike Evans.
His receivers are Troy Franklin and the other
Kirk and Atwell. Yeah,
I would do that.
He just lost Metcalf and Ayuk.
Oh, then he definitely shouldn't do that. He's taking on an injured player when he just lost those two guys. He's taking on Evans.
Yeah.
No,
this is 12-2. He's 12-2.
You're getting back Rashad. You're giving up Brian Robinson and who?
Christian Kirk.
So Robinson and Kirk, and you're hoping for Metcalf to return by next week at the latest, right? If he doesn't play this week. I mean, if you're 12-2, I would do this.
You would do it?
Yeah, I mean, you're hoping to manage through the next 3 weeks. And
you're still losing Robinson to White, though, right? You agree that's a loss?
It's definitely a loss.
But
at the same time, like the gain that you're getting, you're hoping Evans is Evans. When he comes back and full target share without Chris Godwin could be amazing.
Yeah, I'm worried about that injury.
How do you think Dan feels about this comment? Adam is the worst. Jamie and Dan are awesome.
I feel terrible about that comment. I love Adam. I don't as much. Can I say the word crap? I hope as much crap as Adam gives me. I still love Adam, and I always will love Adam. And I think he's an amazing host. So I hate that comment. I hate any of these comments hating on us. I just want nice things to be.
Oh, I forgot about Am I the Jerk? And since you have to leave soon, tell us.
You got to golf.
Which makes me the jerk.
Yeah.
Okay. Quick Am I the Jerk story. So at a concert recently.
You've never told a quick story in your life.
Yeah, you're right about that. I'm going to try to find a way to tell this quickly, but it's going to be tough for me. Okay. Standing room GA at a concert. So stage, and there's a bunch of people. And obviously within these situations, they sell a lot of tickets for GA. So you're going to eventually ultimately be crowded. So you're crowded standing. Everybody understands in these situations, like, let's just have fun. You have your own little personal space. It's not much to work with, but that's your space, right? So I'm at a concert with a friend and another guy, and this is a Grateful Dead kind of concert. Like it's a band that plays Grateful Dead music. Another guy, and I don't like yucking other people's yum, so I'm happy with him. Enjoy your life. Another guy there is really into the music. Now he's really, really, really into the music. So I could imitate it for the YouTube crowd, but he is just wildly whipping his head around listening to the music, like wildly whipping his head around. And in the process of him whipping his head around and his whole body really throughout, this is just like this, the song's playing, his head's down, he's whipping it around. He's taking up a lot of space, right? Because his body's like whipping around. So every other person is kind of like taking a step to the left, taking a step away from him. And I'm like stepping like into my friend, basically like on my friend's shoulder at that point. Everyone is just getting like losing all personal space throughout this concert. Anyone located near him, it's like a magnet. Like he's just creating more space. And then I'll take step to the left, but then he like finds a way to take over the space. Like when you create space, that space is gone within like a second because he's like found his way over there and he's just using more like radius to whip his head around and whip his whole body around.
He's the jerk.
So then throughout the concert, there's people like it's taken over. Like people are noticing it. The girl to his left is like, I look at her, she looks at me, we give the look like this is ridiculous. Like, should I say anything? She's like, I don't know. Like, and then like, and two guys that are like ahead of him are like very close to saying something. You can see them talking about it, and like the one guy's about to go in and he like doesn't do it. So like I'm debating, am I the jerk if I do say something to him?
No, you're a hero.
But I also want him to have his fun. Like,
no, you're a hero.
I don't know what the rule, like, I just think like I want him to have his fun. If he likes listening to his music by just like whipping his whole body and head around the whole time,
no,
I don't care. Like you're into the music, I get it, but you need to like. I feel like there needs to be some kind of like social contract when it comes to what space you get. This is where the story ends. I am too big of a to say anything to him, and I don't like confrontation. I didn't. I just kept stepping and stepping, and then finally I was like, "That's it." I told my friend we need to find new space on this. Like we had great spot in front of the stage, but I was just like, "Nope, we need to get out of here. I can't. It's not fun when you're like standing like this at a concert. It's just not fun."
No, it's terrible. I had a do I say something moment at a football game about 10 years ago. I went with Nando, his wife, my current wife, who was like our second date, and it was a Miami Wake Forest game. It was not the kind of game where you stand the entire game. Okay. It was a nothing game. And these people were standing the entire game. And it's like, dude, you got to know when to stand. You stand on third down, you stand in the fourth quarter, something like that. You don't stand the entire freaking game. And my wife, the girl who I was on my second date with her, she couldn't see anything. So we were sick of it. I asked this guy next to me, like, should we say something? He's like, yeah, let's say something. So I say something to the guy that's standing. The dude next to me completely bails on me. And now I am in a fight, a argument, this guy is telling me now how to be a fan. He's like, I'm a real fan. Real fans stand at games. Yeah. I'm like, dude, I've been a real fan like for 10 years longer than I know how to be a real fan.
Having a fan off.
Yes, exactly. But I think his sister sat down. He continued to stand up like a loser the entire game. Like he was in like the third row. If you have a low row seat, you have to really be a courteous stander at games or concerts. You have it's
like people who are like tall at concerts and standing room. Like, don't wear a hat too, right? You're tall already. It's hard enough for people to see backstage. Don't also put a hat on your head.
That's quite a restriction. Sure, little dad. All right,
it's like a social contract. Like, just understand some things. Like, it's everyone's world, right? We're all living in it. Understand that, like, it's not just your world.
Okay, here we go. Full PPR, sit 1 from S.A. Jones. Sit CeeDee Lamb, Drake London, T. Higgins, James Cook, Josh Jacobs, or J.K. Dobbins.
Just sit one of those guys?
Yeah.
That's tough. What a team.
I'm sitting Cook.
Wow.
I think I'm sitting Dobbins over Cook, but I don't feel great about that.
That is exactly how I feel. Like, I get the logic in sitting Cook instead of Dobbins, but I will sit Dobbins.
He's playing the Saints.
I know. I get the logic.
The logic is there. I just don't.
This is from COR 2186. Live long and prosper. I need depth in a 6-point per passing touchdown league. I have Mayfield and Jaden Daniels. Who are good wide receivers or running backs to target and trade? I have lost Godwin, Rice, and Rashid Shaheed.
Oof. I mean, depending on your team and what you have to offer, like, you should be looking to try and acquire some of these injured receivers. So if Metcalf is available, I'd look to try and get him. If you can, wait it out, Mike Evans, and just see what happens when he comes back. Like, these are the type of guys that could still be league winners when they're healthy. And hopefully in the case of Metcalf, it's not going to be a lengthy absence. And we know Mike Evans at least is targeting week 12. So those are the type of things I think you look for. Maybe cheaper, Juwan Jennings, just with the hope that, he's not going to play this week, but when he comes back, he's, a significant contributor for a team that just lost Brandon Ayuk. You might be able to get Jalen Waddle still relatively cheap before he plays this weekend. That's somebody. Nico Collins, if you can get him, any of these guys that are not playing right now, if you can, sort of wait it out, that's the moves I'd be looking to make.
All right. This is a grade the trade from Noah. Should I trade Terry McLaurin for T. Higgins in PPR?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. This is from Shadow's Best Bud. I need 2. Jalen Hurts, Joe Burrow, Caleb Williams, 6-point per passing touchdown league.
You're sitting Caleb.
Okay.
I would, but I think Caleb's going to go off this week, so it's tough for me, but you still have to sit Caleb there.
All right, and I think there was only one. No, I think that's it. And, yeah, this is the one. Adam Azer is the worst. Consistently led astray. The host uses foul language.
Wow.
I listen with my children. Yeah.
Wow.
Sorry.
He really went in on you. And what's more surprising is that you would choose to read that on air.
Yeah,
did I spell everything right there in that one, though?
Just knowing your history, Adam, it's usually only the good comments about you that you read on here. But yeah, I don't know who this guy is, but I don't like him. And if I see him at a concert whipping his head around, no, I'm just kidding.
If I see him at a concert whipping his head around, I'm going to walk away.
I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to move to my left.
Our guy, Robert Thomas says, Dan's the kind of guy that schedules a meeting instead of just sending an email.
Oh, that's not true.
No. Dan is, though, I will say this about Dan. I've been on a lot of meetings with Dan.
Mm-hmm.
Dan is the guy who, when you think the meeting is going to end, Dan always has to ask another question or make another. Dan adds 5 to 10 minutes to every meeting we're on.
That may be true, but if you audited it, I would say that a lot of those comments are valuable. And
they are.
Yeah.
But more valuable is not being on the meeting. Like, nobody wants to be in the meeting.
Sometimes you have to, like, I wait for everybody else to talk, and then I say my comment.
I'm the type of guy in a meeting to text Adam, why are we doing this meeting?
Yeah, yes, you are.
All right, here's our YouTube comments. Caleb Williams or Kyler Murray, 4 point per passing touchdown.
Caleb.
Let's see. Hunt, Javonte Williams, or Taylor. Sit one.
Javonte for me. Is the sit.
Let's see. Marvin Harrison Jr., Kareem Hunt, or James Cook. Sit one. Oh, man. I think I'm going to sit Harrison.
I'm saying Harrison.
I'm going to sit Harrison as well, and I got to jump at that. You guys have a great weekend. Thank you to everybody tuning in, and good luck this weekend. Hopefully you don't get yourself in a situation where you got a head whipping around at you.
And it's jump around, Dan. Jump around, Wisconsin guy.
Oh, jump around. Amazing.
Have a good round.
I'm not playing today. I got other things I got to do.
Chase Brown or Raheem Mostert, PPR.
Brown.
Grade the trade. I get Amari Cooper. I give up Josh Downs and Bucky Irving.
Yes. A++.
Great job. Who should I trade Achane for in a keeper league? Oh, I don't love these open-ended questions, but
you're trading Achane for, I think, a receiver that you feel is going to have long-term value. Like, this is the perfect opportunity to try and trade for Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, but it's a huge loss this year, I think, Achane to Marvin. It could be.
Look what you have, though. I mean,
Jamie, I made a but why would you do that? I wouldn't do that. I want better. I don't know.
I mean, long term.
Yeah, but it's not a dynasty league, it's a keeper league. I don't know if he's even going to keep him.
It's true.
So
Nico?
I made a trade. Yeah, that's a good one. Achane for Nico. I made a trade yesterday that everybody thinks is so one-sided. I'm getting killed for it. Like, I'm getting killed as I took advantage of someone. I gave up Bigsby and Andrews for Neighbors.
Bigsby and Andrews for Neighbors. Yeah, I mean, you're selling high on Bigsby, which, somebody needs a running back. They could do that. Andrews is a little tough to put that as the second option, but I can see why people are upset.
Yeah. Someone texted me and said, I want to report a robbery. Taysom Hill.
Softball league?
Yeah, softball. Taysom Hill or Kyle Pitts at tight end?
Pitts.
Should I trade Deontay for DJ Moore?
Yes.
Yeah. Pick one. Kyler Murray, Bo Nix, Drake May, Russell Wilson.
I would go with Kyler, but I know Sportsline and Heath would say Bo Nix.
I like Kyler. Jaden Reed or DJ Moore rest of season?
Jaden Reed.
Let's see. Give Mixon, get Jaden Daniels. Oh, nope, get Jaden Reed.
I would aim a little bit higher, but if that's the best you can do, it's okay.
Okay, and Marvin Harrison Jr. or Terry McLaurin? Oh, wow, Will, I've answered 6 of your questions now. Or McBride?
I'd go McBride. Assuming Daniels out.
Would you rather have Dobbins and DJ Moore or CeeDee Lamb rest of season?
You guarantee me Dobbins is healthy, I'd take that side.
Okay. Deontay or Jalen McMillan this week?
Still Deontay.
McBride or Otten? Half PPR.
McBride.
Pick one. Stevenson, Chubb, Bucky Irving, Najee Harris.
Najee.
Yeah. Olave or Ramondre, PPR?
Olave.
Oof, man, hate it.
Yeah.
Trade Ferguson and Coleman for Jamison Williams. Oh, no. Trade Ferguson and either Coleman or Jamison for Kittle.
Yeah, I mean, if you could do Ferguson and Coleman for Kittle, I love that.
Would you do Ferguson and Jamison?
I would do either one, but I mean, if you keep Jamison in that, that's great.
All right, last couple here. Chase Brown, Alexander Madison, or Dalton Kincaid?
Chase Brown.
Waddle or Jennings? Well, Waddle. Either way. Okay, thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend. Good luck. We'll talk to you on Sunday on Fantasy Football Today.